I met a young lady the other day, and her and her husband, they're just developing property that they, well, I guess they've had in their family for a while, but they're just now developing it. So I thought I would make a video on some tools to get started on, and give you some ideas of what to get, and it will save your learning curve by far, I hope. Save you a lot of time. So you know what right to look for right from the get-go, or at least have something, a foundation to work off of. Living up here in the mountains, you know, and having property, you need some of these guys. Jumper cables. You want to get a good heavy-duty set, and you ought to have at least 2 pair, or 3. You know, 1 in your work truck, almost in every vehicle if you can. The rule of thumb is 2 is 1, 1 is none. Okay? So if you need 1 and it's something that you really need on your land, you need minimum 2. Probably 3 or 4 is even better. So there's that. Just while I'm thinking about it, got a wheelbarrow here and a cart over here. Wheelbarrow versus carts. For just starting out, for sure, wheelbarrows. Okay, I've got 3 of them, and I've got them in different locations. A cart is fine, but a cart is more specific. Like being up here in the mountains, I'm on uneven terrain all the time, so the wheelbarrow works much better. Where the cart, it's wider, you got your tires, the full width of your cart, so you have to have that whole area nice and flat to be able to use a cart on. You're not going to be able to get it on something really sharp or steep, or it's just a lot more problems, a lot more problematic. What I am going to do is I'm going to use this cart for the solar panel setup. So whenever I start putting, and I just got a couple of little guys. So and the thing is, the way the sun, the way the sun moves, and the big trees I've got, you know, it creates the shade. So I need to make my solar setup movable, where I can move it, you know, over here in the morning and over there in the afternoon and in the evening. So definitely go with wheelbarrows. I would recommend getting one of these, just a generic little harness. You know, if you're out projecting or building fence, really handy. So I've got this set up, and you know, you got your hammer. So you're working, you're always going to need a hammer, so you need to be able to get to it, you know, easily, quickly. And then I'm always using this guy. This poor little thing, I've worked it so hard. It's still going strong, but it's getting tired. So I've already got another one stored to replace it, and it will fit on this nice wide heavy belt. So, you know, it's just real handy, convenient. So that works really good. For weed eating, I recommend going with an 090 line, because anything smaller isn't going to be heavy enough to handle, you know, outdoors like this. So you need to go with an 090. And the reason I say the line, the size of the line, that size of the line will determine the size of your weed eater. Okay, so this is, I think there's one bigger than this before it gets into the commercial 2-handers. And a friend of mine, he bought a 2-hander, and he said it's too heavy. So something to consider. You know, if you're on flat land, one of those is fine, but up here it's not, because you know you'll be weed eating. You got to get up on the bank. You may have a little berm, like down there on the road. You have a berm, and then you need to reach down. So you're going to end up manipulating this a lot. You know, there'll be stumps that you need to work around, shrubbery. So you know, you need something that you can manipulate that's not too heavy. And So I've thought about getting one of those big commercial ones, but after talking with him, I won't do it. I'll just stay with that guy. And the other day, I was down there at the greenhouse, and I let things get so out of hand. The stems were like ½ inch diameter, 3/8 ½ inch. So took the chainsaw down there and just and worked out really good. Gloves. I get these at Wally World. I really like them. They're kind of a medium duty glove. I even use these for welding. I don't like the big welding gloves because the stuff that I do, I'm always bolting stuff together and you know, taking it apart, putting it back together several times, you know, during the fab process. And these just work great. They're about, I don't know, 10, 12 bucks or so. So gloves are huge and easy to get. So I keep a couple of pair here at the house. I keep like 4 pair on the truck. These lights, I think I got these on Amazon. Excellent. They work awesome. And I think I've got probably a dozen of them all over the place. I got them in the truck, I got them in the house. And so if you ever set one up in a location, you always need 2. Okay, so if this one goes out, you got one right there, and you got a backup to go with it. And then just put this one on the charger. Safety glasses. All my glasses, all my shades are safety glasses. I just do that right from the get-go. That way I know everything I grab is a safety glasses, and they're, you know, they're good to go. Hearing protection, I just use earplugs. This guy, I just made this up, and I know it looks like hell, but this thing works great. You know, they've got the helmets out there that are, you know, like $80 or so, and I didn't know if I was going to like it, so I didn't want to go spend 80 bucks. So I thought, you know what, I got an old hard hat. I'll just make one up and see if I like it. If I like it, then I'll go. I don't mind going and spend the money. One of the drawbacks that those other ones have are the earmuffs. Well, my thinking, those earmuffs are going to be hotter than hell. You know, and you're out weed eating 90, 100 degree weather, and so that's why I always go with just the earplugs. A lot cooler. I drilled a bunch of holes around here so it gets good ventilation. You know, I put a neck cover back here, and that's not for the sun, that's for the dust. The dust and grass, keep it off my neck because it starts getting so itchy. And the screen, it's just a screen, regular window screen. I just molded it, you know, and kind of tapered it down so it kind of, you know, follows my ugly mug here, and works really good. So, and then in here, I've got, for my weed eating, you know, got the strap. I keep an extra hub in here, some extra parts, some tools. So whenever I load out for weed eating, I know I have 5 items: weed eater, helmet, tools, line, gas. Okay, so that way if I start loading up and I only have 4 items, I know I'm missing one. It's very aggravating to get someplace to do a job and you forgot something. Not a good plan. These guys, loppers, awesome. I got these. These are extensions. Way good. So I recommend those. These are a little pricey, but golly, I've had them for several years, and you know, just keep them sharp. So I sharpen them almost every other time that I use them. They need to be sharpened now. As soon as they don't cut just nice and clean, I sharpen them up. So you'll sharpen this edge and you'll sharpen this edge. And this edge was almost flat whenever I bought them, so I've been tapering it, taking a little bit off of this back side. So instead of it being flat, it's kind of like this. So you have 2 cutting edges, so to speak, cutting, and that seems to work really well. Got to keep them sharp. That's the trick. Chainsaws. So this guy, this is a 25-inch bar. Really like it, love it. Great saw, good, stout. But a couple years ago, or last year I guess, early last year, I got this guy. And I love this saw. Oh my gosh. Because it's small. It's got an 18-inch bar on it. And it'll cut an 8-inch log, no problem. But the thing is, you can maneuver with it really, really easy. So if you're doing your limbing or if you're doing brushing, you can reach in and brush with it. Where if you try to brush with that, you can do it, man, you're going to be straining. This thing, super simple. You got to do something, you know, kind of high. This just works out so much better. Safety tip. A couple years ago, I was working with this guy, and I was on a hillside, and I just got through making a cut, and I went to step up, and you got to be careful with those chains, because that chain will coast. You'll finish your cut, but that chain keeps coasting. And as soon as I made the cut, I went up, and I stuck that bar right on my knee. And not a good plan. Just not a good plan. So, you know, it went down to the bone, and you know, you can see chunks of kneecap there, and now your socks are all bloody, and you got to walk in bloody socks all day, and yeah, so there's that. So whenever I get, load up for those to do a project, you know, standard loadout for that would be, you know, your gas can, bar oil, tools, and there's 4. Oh, that's 4. All right then. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 4 is a standard loadout for the saws. 5 is standard loadout for weed eating. Also, for my mix, this is a 3-gallon can, so I'll mix up 3 gallons at a time, and then I'll transfer this can to this. This is a 1-gallon. This is just easier to lug around. It's easier to pour into the saw, you know, than carrying this around. So I just like it. So I keep this in storage, and then I keep this with me whenever I go out. And I never burn up a can or a gallon, more than a gallon in a day. For tools, what I'll do, you know, I got a brush and bar tool, but what I'll do, grease gun, is I keep minimum 3 chains per saw in there. So whenever a chain starts to get dull, I swap it out. I don't want that. I don't want to be, you know, really cranking on that thing and dulling that chain up. The duller that chain gets, the more it's going to take to sharpen it. The more material you're going to have to take off the teeth to sharpen it. So as soon as it starts getting dull, I swap it out, and then that dull chain's a lot easier to sharpen when I get home. Okay, this is going to be so cool. And I highly recommend one of these. You know, if you're going to be running a saw much at all, you'll have this thing forever. So this was just an old, you know, toolbox that I had, and so what I did was I cut it out, I gutted it out, and then I lined it with plastic, or I foamed it, lined it with plastic, closed it, and had it mold to the grinder. So this is a sharpener, and this thing is awesome. I've got it set up to mount on the back of my truck. It bolts up like that, or you can wall mount it. Put your chain in the guide. This oscillates to whatever degrees. I run 3510, and then, you know, here's your grinding wheel, and then and that's it. You just want to hit it a little bit at a time, because if you just come down and grind that tooth, you're going to turn it blue. You're going to get it too hot and take the temper out of it. So you just want to bump it. So this has 3 wheels that goes to it. It's got a oh man, I want to say, oh, it has a 1/4-inch wheel. The 1/4-inch wheel, it's got a flat face, and that flat face is for grinding your rakers or depth gauges. And then it has 3/32. 3/32 is the small one, and I can't remember what the big one is now. So anyhow, so I made this little case. This is what I keep the wheels in. So here's your flat face 1/4-inch. Probably says it if I had my glasses. So this one is for the small saw, and 5 3/4 by 1/8. Okay, so it's a 1/8 wheel, and the other is probably 3/32, but for some reason that doesn't sound right. But anyhow, so so this thing works out excellent. And the thing is, you get a good sharp chain. If you do it by hand, you know, it's really hard to get that chain to where it doesn't, you know, start doing this, you know, by the 4th or 5th time that you've sharpened it. And what was the deciding factor of me buying this was files. Files are junk. They're just junk. They don't last. So I thought, you know what? If I want to spend a fortune in files, I might as well just buy this. And I think I paid like $170 for it. You know, you just got to look for it on sale and shop around a little bit. They can be pricey. I've seen them up to like $350 too. So you just gotta kind of look around, shop around. Splitting maul, got to have one of these. I don't have a splitter. I do all my splitting by hand. I think I've got about 6 cord cut and split right now, and then I just use a couple of wedges. I don't cut big wood. I'm past that. So I won't cut anything bigger than probably 20-inch, 24-inch wood. For sure, nothing bigger than 24-inch wood. I don't want to fight it. I don't want to wrestle them big old suckers. So leave that for the young guys. That saw is just perfect size. That'll handle a 20-inch wood or log just fine. And so that's kind of the way I think about it. You'll notice that a lot of the tools are yellow. I'm red-green colorblind, and I guess that's really common in with men. So if it's kind of this color, it blends into the ground too much, and I can't see it. So that's why a lot of stuff is yellow. So that way it stands out, and my eyeballs will pick it up. One of these guys are extremely handy. You know, you're going to air up all kinds of stuff. Your wheelbarrow tires, cart tires, dolly tires, you know, obviously the car tires on your car, bike tires, motorcycle tires, I mean, on and on and on and on. So this thing's really handy, and it's real easy to lug around. So you can air it up, take it someplace, air something up, and you're good to go. Doesn't have a lot of volume, so if you've got to air up a car tire, you're probably going to have to air this up, you know, 3 or 4 times before you get that car tire up to pressure. But highly recommended. I use that thing often. Talking about the air tires, stay away from air tires if there's any way you can. Like my wheelbarrows, all my wheelbarrows are solid rubber. Okay, so if there's any choice, I have any choice at all, I get solid rubber. And then when I go to replace them, I don't replace the air tires with more air tires. I get rid of the air tires and put solid tires on there. The air tires are nice for sure, but they're just problematic. And if you get the tires from China, rubber, oh my God, that rubber's junk. So it just cracks. The sun weathers them, and they crack, and they're junk. So here is a 3-ton come along. I think I've only used it once, but I just got that not too long ago. You can see the boulders here. I've got, I really like landscaping with boulders. I got a boulder project over there, future project. So that come along, and I just got it, snagged it. And I mean, it has so many uses also. It's got a 20-foot chain on it. It's a 3-ton, so I'll never buy another one. It will last me forever. Gardening, getting to the garden, this is how I do my tilling. I don't rent a rototiller. I don't have one. This is how I do it. I do it by hand. So I'll use this guy and take it down there, shove it down in there, turn it, and then step back a couple inches, turn it, and I'll just do kind of a 3-foot swath and keep working my way back. And it works good. I can get down, into my dirt probably, 7-8 inches or so, and it works fine. And then I'll come behind that, and I'll use this guy and break up the clods, and this does really well. But we even improved on this. So check that out. That is beastie. Okay, you can see the difference. So the good thing about this is the tines are longer for sure, but it's heavy. So man, when you go to hit this thing, it busts the clods up really well, and it goes a lot deeper than this guy does. So highly recommend this. And again, if you go this route, 2 is 1, 1 is none. So I think I've got 4 of these, 3 of these, and 2 of those, whatever they're called. And I need to get a couple of more, because I use those every year. The McLeod, this is really nice. It's good and heavy. So if you're building a walkway or a path, I've got a pretty steep walkway that drops down and then crosses the little creek and then goes out to the garden. So this works really good for that. You can bust up the ground with a pick and then come back behind and either scrape some rock or scrape the largest part of the material, and then drag this. It moves dirt really well. Different types of picks. This Pulaski, I hardly ever use it. It's just not heavy enough. If I were going to take this and maybe clean a trail or do some brushing or something, I might take it where I have to pack it somewhere. It's pretty light, so I might use it then, but otherwise I don't. You got your standard picks. I've probably got 5 or 6 of these. So any kind of dirt work tools, gardening tools, load up. Okay, get shovels, picks, what have you. I think I said already, I got like 5 or 6 of those. This guy, this works really nice in soft material. You don't want to use this in hard material, because what you're going to do is you're going to wear this out. So hard material, use the other pick. Softer stuff, use this, and you get a lot more work done with this than you would with the rock pick. Shovel, okay, standard square point shovel. But what I've done here is I've taken some 1-inch EMT and I've made a shovel handle out of it. So I'll cut the EMT probably fold the inside in just a little bit, crimp it, and that way I can hammer it down into this neck where it necks down smaller, and then put a 1/4 bolt in there and tighten it up. With the round tube, I hammer it, make it oblong, so just put it on the vise or whatever, hammer that sucker down, make it oblong, and it won't bend. It's works pretty good. I like shorter handles. I don't like the long handles. You know, that's just me. And then whenever you're shoveling, make sure that you're using your legs. Okay. Don't just come on in and use your back. And I'm terrible about doing that. I had a foreman get on to me one time about that, and I've always remembered it ever since. But always use your legs. So that's the proper way of using a shovel. Okay, so making things work. We got post hole diggers, and handles broke, so I had some EMT. You know, split them, shoved them down over the wood, put some 1/4 bolts in there, and yeah, there you go. Stretching fence. I highly recommend using hog wire over baling wire. If you put, you know, 4 or 5 strand baling wire fence up, as soon as you turn around, you're going to be maintaining that fence. You know, to cows and horses, they're going to be sticking their heads through the strands because they got to get to the grass on the other side. And if there's any way possible, go with hog wire. We've got hog wire out here that I've put up when I was, you know, 5 or 6 years old, and it's still there. And the animals aren't going to pressure it. You know, they're not going to be able to stick their heads through that. Hog wire is, you know, small little rectangular squares, and it gets smaller down towards the bottom. Real heavy gauge wire. So that's what this guy would be used for. Put it together on the end, clamp it, put a chain around it or a strap, sock it down, stretch it, tighten it up. And then this guy, sadly to say, I just recently discovered this a few years back. This thing works awesome. I've seen them for years and years, and I just looked at it and kind of whatever, you know. But, you know, because we'd stretch wire, oftentimes if you have to splice a wire, you would just do it with a hammer. And I'll show you how to do that sometime. But these things really work good. Okay, so you'll pull those out, put your wire. Don't do that! You'll only do it once. Put your wire in there. Oh goodness. And then set those. And so then as you ratchet and tighten it, these actually bind down against the wire, and you're not going to lose it. And then ratchet this sucker together, and then to break it, that's how you break the lock on it. So super nice, man. These things just they will hunker down that wire, boy. These things are stout. So that's a must-have. Whoa, crowbars. You know, definitely have a couple of them. I keep this one on my truck. This one I won't. It's just a little bit too long, too cumbersome. I like this one because it's small enough where I can get some good leverage, but I can get it in tight places also. So from that, then I'll go to this one. I keep this one on the truck. So if I need something, you know, bigger, that I need some, you know, girth, I go to this guy. It's a nice size. I can get it into, you know, kind of tight places, as opposed to it's a full size bar. Check this out. Ugh, look at that Bohema. Okay, so it's got a point on one end, and it's got this big, huge. Really? Yeah? You're kind of rude. Yeah, you're rude. You're interrupting. You are so rude. Roar, roar, roar. So it's got this big crow's foot. I don't know. So what do you think? What do you think that? I mean, this is things obviously built for something specific. The only thing I could figure out, my guess would be for railroad iron. So you got the point, and you can line up the holes for the pads, and then you got this super huge foot to move that big heavy iron. And and this thing is freaking, it's an 1.5 inch diameter. I mean, it's a man and a half to operate that sucker. So that's the only thing I can think of. Let me know what you think. Then got your kind of your standard rock bar